Welcome to the URANTIA book. Have you ever wondered to yourself why the world is in such chaos and confusion? Why are people still bombing each other, killing each other in the streets, be it your common criminal or your world leader? Why can we not just get it together and have peace on earth? Well, the URANTIA book teaches that there are superhuman beings at the helm of this planet, and they have went into rebellion and gone astray. And in doing so, they have sold their souls. And what that means is that they have nothing left for them except for this planet. And while everything runs its course, and while they allow evil to terminate itself, and I'm talking the higher beings, we have these struggles and conflicts. But this does not have to mean anything to you, because you can align with deity and divinity and sail right through all of this garbage. But it is very interesting to understand, because we might contemplate why it seems so hard to escape it. Well, it's teaching that there are superhuman beings who design these world system of things with superhuman intelligence. And so that it doesn't seem like a stretch for me, because I see how perfect it all needs to be in order to keep evil at the exact right percentage that it doesn't self-destruct. Okay, eventually it will. But for instance, look at something like your nuclear bomb. If one rogue nation had it, then they would just go completely haywire and nuke everything, right? But if you spread it apart, or you introduce it to the beings at the right time in the human development, same thing goes with food and our afflictions and our addictions. If you know what our DNA makeup is, if you know our weaknesses, then you can pander to our base desires and keep us as slaves to the system. Remember, it's a world held captive. So to me, it seems like it makes a lot of sense that it would be a superhuman being. Now, the being, they talk in specific about what this being's name and rank and everything like that is. The name is Caligastia on this planet, and he was a Lenan Deck son. So basically, all that means is that the creator son of the local universe, which is only 10 million inhabited worlds. I say only because there's 700,000 of these local universe, and the mother spirit, they create beings into existence. Your various angels, your Lenan Decks, your Varanan Decks, all different types, constellation fathers. There's all sorts of different beings. They're not just all called angels, right? They're different. But these Lenan Decks are to be the planetary princes. That's one of their role. So when a planet reaches the stage of having humans through evolution, then these beings will go to that planet and bring a staff of 100 beings, which are semi-material, which can be seen by the naked, by the naked eye. The Lenan Deck can't, but his staff of 100 can. This explains all of your ancient alien stories. Okay, 100 group of they call them Super Nephim or some or Nephilim. I mean, in the Bible, all your traditions have it. These brilliant beings. Think about the creation of the pyramids. All that ancient alien stuff. They're saying it is a Lenan Deck with his staff of 100 beings. Okay, they're supposed to come and help guide the early primitive savages on how to do the right thing. Ours came and went into this larger rebellion called the Lucifer Rebellion. Excuse me. And then that is where they started to try to do things their own way. They thought they could do it better than God. They thought God was a fallacy created by the Creator Son in order to control people. And they said, no, we need to give people liberty. We can rush this through. We can get people to the industrial age sooner. But in doing so, they didn't give them the values that say, you got to be careful with all this stuff, right? So let's look at what a Lenan Deck son is first, and then we will learn more about our own individual Lenan Deck named Caligastia. This is on page 392. We're just going to do little blurbs here. Since Lenan Decks are a somewhat lower order of sonship than the Melchizedeks and the Varanan Decks, they are even of greater service in these subordinate units of the universes, for they are capable of drawing nearer the lower creatures of the intelligent races. They also stand in greater danger of going astray. You see, if they're drawing near to us, that means they're they're somewhat more not perfect, okay? And when beings are that far away from perfection, that's why they can go astray. We can really go astray because we really don't know what the hell is going on, until we get something like a revelation. We're just trying to figure it out. And everybody's got 1,000,001 different theories. But for me, superhuman beings and, these shadow governments and that sort of stuff, I don't need to know the details. That's all I need to say. I don't think Elon Musk is smart enough to create a world system of things, or the Rothschild or anything like that is that perfect and precise that it can hold the whole world captive. Okay? I don't think that is the case. So this makes sense to me. Of departing from the acceptable technique of universe government. And that's exactly what happened here. But these Lenan Decks, especially the primary order, are the most able and versatile of all local universe administrators. In executive ability, they are excelled only by Gabriel, who's like the first angel type being, and his unrevealed associates. Okay? So, if we had a good planetary prince, we would just be in... They say that if you were to go to a world of your level of evolution that is normal and didn't have a rebellious planetary prince, then you would think that you had died and went to the heavens of your traditions. Okay, here we go. We're going to look now in the next page here. It says, in the event of a rebellion on a system headquarters, a new sovereign is usually installed within a comparatively short time, but not so on the individual planets. Okay, so the rebellion of our system was Lucifer, and Caligastia went in with that rebellion. Lucifer has already been, removed and detained and all that, and Caligastia, though, still tarries around on this planet because it takes longer. They are the component units of the material creation, and creature free will is a factor in the final adjudication of all such problems. Successor planetary princes are designated for isolated worlds, planets whose princes of authority may have gone astray, but they do not assume active rulership of such worlds until the results of the insurrection are partially overcome and removed by the remedial measures adopted by the Melchizedeks and other ministering personalities. See, it's all taken care of. They know that these Lenan Decks can go astray, right? So there's things in place. Rebellion by a planetary prince instantly isolates his planet, ours. Okay? The isolation, we don't hear anything of all those planets out there. We're not getting any messages back, and there's just, it's like a prison. It's a cosmic prison world. The local spiritual circuits are immediately severed. Only a bestowal sun can re-establish interplanetary lines of communication on such a spiritually isolated world. Okay, so we will get it back eventually, but they say it might even take 1,000 more years from now. There exists a plan for saving these wayward and unwise sons, and many have availed themselves of this merciful provision, but never again may they function in those positions wherein they defaulted. After rehabilitation, they are assigned to the custodial duties and to departments of physical administration. So ours is doesn't want the rehabilitation. Apparently ours is destined for the destruction. Okay, that soul termination, which happens when you divorce yourself from reality. That we're talking about iniquitous beings. Think of every single victim they have. It all stems back to this default of a lot of different reasons that they are able to precipitate this much worldwide confusion. So let's look at the planetary prince of Urantia, which is our planet, and we're going to see, here it is, Prince Caligastia, okay? The advent of a Lenan Deck sun on an average world signifies that will, the ability to choose the path of eternal survival, has developed in the mind of primitive man. Remember, we learned the other day about when they become human is when they're making will choices, okay, to choose God, and that's when they say human. And then they say, okay, we got a planetary prince there. But on Urantia, the planetary prince arrived almost 500,000 years after the appearance of human will. So there's just some different leeways. We're on a life modification world. 1 in every 10 inhabited worlds there's different things allotted, okay? So there's just somewhat variations. About 500,000 years ago, and concurrent with the appearance of the six-colored or Sangic races, Caligastia, the Planetary Prince, arrived on Urantia. Okay, that we'll learn about the colored races. That's how humanity evolves, to have these various colors for various reasons. There's a divine plan behind that and why they are thus colored differently. There were almost 1/2 billion primitive human beings on Earth at the time. Okay, so you're talking about a lot of beings of the Planetary Prince's arrival, and they were scattered all over Europe, Asia, and Africa. The prince's headquarters, established in Mesopotamia, was at about the center of the world population. So they established this headquarters. Prince Caligastia. Caligastia was a Lenan Deck son, number 9344 of the secondary order. He was experienced in the administration of the affairs of the local universe in general, and during later ages with the management of the local system of Satania in particular. That's many inhabited worlds. I don't know if it's 1,000 or many thousands. Prior to the reign of Lucifer in Satania, Caligastia had been attached to the Council of the Life Carrier Advisors on Jerusalem. Lucifer elevated Caligastia to a position on his personal staff, and he acceptably filled 5 successive assignments of honor and trust. This is when these beings hadn't gone astray, and they were actually just doing the functions that they were created to do. Caligastia very early sought a commission as a planetary prince, so he wanted this job to come onto one of these planets. But repeatedly, when his request came up for approval in the constellation councils, it would fail to receive the assent of the constellation fathers. Caligastia seemed especially desirous of being sent as a planetary ruler to a decimal or life modification world. So that's what I was saying that we had. He purposely wanted one. His petition at several times had been disapproved before he was finally assigned to Urantia. Caligastia went forth from Jerusalem to his trust of world dominion with an enviable record of loyalty and devotion. See, this is where all that fall from grace stuff happens. To the welfare of the universe of his origin and sojourn, notwithstanding a certain characteristic restlessness coupled with the tendency to disagree with the established order in certain minor matters. So they did sense this within him, and it was restlessness and some disagreeing, but that's not enough. You know, God is merciful and allows for a lot of personality differences. So just because somebody's restless and disagrees with things, there's not just, okay, well, we need to kill you now, even though they should have. I was present on Jerusalem when the brilliant Caligastia, see, they're saying brilliant, departed from the system capital. No prince of the planets ever embarked upon a career of world rulership with a richer preparatory experience or with better prospects. See how much hope there was? As did Caligastia on that eventful day 1/2 million years ago. One thing is certain, as I executed my assignment of putting the narrative of that event on the broadcast of the local universe, I never for one moment entertained even in the slightest degree any idea that this noble Lenan Deck would so shortly betray his sacred trust of planetary custody and so horribly stain the fair name of his exalted order of universe sonship. I really regarded Urantia as being among the 5 or 6 most fortunate planets in all Satania, and in that it was to have such an experienced, brilliant, and original mind at the helm of world affairs. I did not then comprehend that Caligastia was insidiously falling in love with himself. You see where this comes in. This is that self-love. And in fact, this brings up something that's happening in the New Age movement. They're trying to exalt this self-love idea. And remember, as I said, mankind has no sense of proportion. So these people that are, I'm talking just regular humans who are just looking for answers and truth out there, they have been repressed and oppressed for so long that now this concept of self-love came through the New Age movement, and everybody's embracing it. You have to love yourself. Well, what Jesus of Nazareth taught was self-forgetfulness. okay? Because this is what happens when you get too much self-love. That vanity starts to ensue. I did not then so fully understand the subtleties of personality pride. Okay, look at that. Even this, who wrote this? Planetary Prince of URANTIA. Okay, this was by a Melchizedek, so even a higher order of being than the Lenan Decks. They didn't know how deceptive this. It's subtle. This subtle type of stuff is really. And remember, they will beat you hands down every time because of the superhuman. Look at brilliant superhuman being that's millions of years old. They see evolution take place on a planet. They watch it unfold. They know what the lower nature triggers are and everything. They will beat us, and they are. If you look at what is our leading cause of death? Dietary, right? That's pandering to your base desire. On every single street corner, it's food, food, food. 10 restaurants per block, 1,000,001 taste sensations, right? And sure, you might just think, oh, well, everything in moderation. But do you want to take arsenic in moderation? Do you want to, so that's everything, right? So that includes arsenic, right? Do you want to take poisons in moderation? Well, but then we need it for our escapisms, okay? You work the job all week, and then you're going to go and pound the 6-pack, and when you come home, and you're going to eat the chicken wings and watch the big screen TV and everything like that. And they got you. They got you. You're just a machine in this cog, right? But the mercy of God, you're not going to be destroyed from divorcing yourself from God. Remember, delay is not avoidance. It is merely delay. So you'll delay all these things, but then you're resurrected again on the next world, and they say, okay, well, remedial world for you. We're going to resurrect you again because of mercy, but you're going to be in a remedial world where we have to now remove those ideas through your own free will, choice, of course, but remove those ideas about why, that is not the way to ascend in that selfish, self-centered, self-serving, and look at this self-love concept, right? Why that? But the divine has the mercy because they know Caligastia precipitated this stuff many, many thousands of years ago, and that is just the worldwide system of things. So it's all good news for us, but it's good to be aware of what we're up against here on this planet so that we're not just thinking, oh, it's the Rothschilds or whatever. Sure, the Rothschilds, who knows how close in league they are with these beings, right? I don't know. They could be in direct freaking contact with them. They could be some of the staff in disguise, because that staff of 100, many of them went astray, and they're still on the planet. Many of the seraphim, angelic beings, and all sorts of hosts of celestial personalities went into this rebellion, and they're still on the planet doing everything they can to hold this iron grip on the world, and they're succeeding. Who knows? They could even go push it too far, and we can have a complete unwinding of the society, and that's going to be a very, very, that's going to be that biblical type event where they call it the end of the world in the Bible. But it's not going to be the end of the world. It's going to be the end of the world system of things. Because as you see, these things are taken care of. There's even more wise beings at the helm than our local administration on this planet. Your beings like your gods, even your Melchizedeks, and just so much more. They know what makes Caligastia tick, right? I'm sure God wasn't surprised at the subtleties of personality pride. This has happened even in this local universe. There's been 3 system-wide rebellions. I believe this is the 3rd, and that's just one local universe out of 700,000. But they do say this is like one of the worst. This is one of the worst, and it's just, I don't know. To me, it's all uplifting. So don't look at this as doom and gloom or anything like that. I want to be aware of what's happening in the world. And so now I don't have to look around and pick around on conspiracy theories about all of this. It's just right here. This is what happened. And there's nothing that's more satisfying for me that I've seen than how much detail. Look at this. Look at the detail here. At the head of the group was Dalagastia. That's one of his associates. Planet Delegacia was also a secondary Lenan Deck sun, being number 319,407 of that order. See the detail in there about this explaining. Now, but this also matches up with the reality, the data of this planet, your murder rates, and all of that type of stuff. So I have no problem accepting this as the revelation of truth to this planet, and this is how it is, and this is satisfying to me. So please like and subscribe. Thanks, folks, for everybody that's contributing, participating, and take care of yourselves. We'll see you in the next video.